Welcome to the show, Esther Austin. You are an award-winning international talk show host, TV producer, motivational speaker, and publicist with expertise in promoting legacy artists and high-profile individuals. You're actually a returnee to the show here. You've been on our show before. Feel free to go off and check that video out, anybody that's watching this. It's fantastic to have you back on the show with us, Esther. Thank you so much for joining us, and please do tell us more.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you, Skyler, for the invitation. Had the pleasure of being on your show, like you said, I think a couple of years ago. Here
Indeed.
I am.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think where I left off then, but I can just guess where I start from now.
Just to give you a clue, I mean, I was going to mention anyway, that since, obviously, date-wise, since being on the show with us, you've now won a business award and a 2023 Enthroned Ents Honors Hall of Fame induction and all kinds of other awards there. So tell us a little bit about those and what they were for and what experience that was like for you.
Okay, well, I'll start with the Enthroned Honors Award that was given to me by the CEO, Andre Pittman. Thank you, Andre. And I was recognized for my services in media, in broadcasting, interviewing legacy acts. Okay. And it was just so nice to be, and Skyler, I know you received one as well. Yeah. But it was really nice to be acknowledged amongst the former Supremes, Cornelius Grant, who was known as the Sixth Tenth from the Temptations, and Charles Wright, and many others. I felt so chuffed at that. Yeah. And I guess for me, I love what I do, and I do what I love because it's very much about honoring. I'm very much an old soul, so I believe in honoring. That's the basis of everything I do. Yeah. Honoring these incredible legends and pioneers that I interview, but also the magic is in sort of drawing out of them sometimes stories, untold stories, things they've never shared before, and giving them a voice, because a lot of them have said to me, you allow us to be who we are. And that's really powerful. You know, you see us. And I remember on a sort of platform last year, had Sherry Payne, Cornelius Grant, Gerald Alston, and a few others. And I also remembered Sherry said, she goes, Esther, she goes, it's nice to be seen and not viewed. And that was such a powerful statement.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I guess that's where the award came from as well, you know, just honoring these beautiful people.
Now, do you love some of the social conscious artists out right now as compared to the old ones? Well, as a matter of fact, who were some of your favorite social conscious music artists?
It's interesting because I might not have put that title on them, but I experienced them as that. Does that make sense? People who had a voice, people whose music had a meaning, had a message. So, I mean, Bob Marley is one that comes to mind. He was about the people. He was about the message to the people, but also the message politically and also in a community basis. So he was one of my favorites.
Yes.
Nina Simone was another powerful person, but her lyrics, she was about humanity. Yeah. And she was about her people. And she was very vocal in expressing that. You know, I mean, like you said, a lot of these artists, they sing love songs, but even that in itself, they are socially conscious to a degree because they're also singing about experiences. And I believe experiences are part of that social awareness and social consciousness, not just about love, but when you break it down, what does love mean? Love is community, love is unity. And a lot of the old school R&B is very much about that. The real old school hip hop was very much, it was a culture in itself. And in that culture, there was community. So I know that may answer you in a roundabout way, but that's how I see it, because the real social consciousness for me is not just in a silo. You can hear those sort of vibes, those vibes in lots of different genres of music. Marvin Gaye, definitely.
What's Going On album, right?
Yeah.
I love the story of him talking about, I have to tell people what's going on. That album almost stopped the war by itself between him and John Lennon talking about Imagine. You know,
Yes.
there's so many. And I love that you give a voice to people. Everybody's got a story.
Absolutely.
That's the wonderful thing about having a podcast that, you can, tell about your story and your journey and all that kind of stuff. And thank you for what you do. You've interviewed me on your show, and I love you
Oh,
for that.
yes. Couple of times, I think. Yes.
I love it. Tom?
Yeah. We mentioned briefly last time you were on a bit of a rebrand you went through. You now sort of encompass everything under Esther Austin Global. Can you tell us a little bit about how you promote what you do? I mean, I know you've got the YouTube arm and you've got your kind of website that you do. How do you generally go about promoting the kind of online things that you do?
Through the social media platforms. So the regular cohorts are TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I'm using LinkedIn more because from a business perspective as well, because, I'm targeting different audiences. And so therefore the narratives that I put out have to be slightly different depending on the platform. But ultimately, what I really do need is someone to come in and deal with my social media platforms, because they're experts in that and they know, in terms of algorithms, different things to put out. So that's what I'm looking to do. And interestingly, the past 2 weeks, I've been working with a group of young people through a company called Practera, where they work with undergrads or postgrads. And you can ask them to work on an aspect of your business. So whether that's business growth strategy, marketing, or digital marketing. But it's good for me because now I know specifically what I need to do on those platforms in order also to gain more traffic and get more visibility. So, they're experts in that. So I need to be, sort of strategize down on that a little more.
Yeah. Okay.
So what's on the docket for you now?
Building out even more initially I was thinking of putting back on my show, but every time I come across someone or I get asked, because I love what I do. So, but I'm going to be strategizing a bit more about my podcast on the Sofa with Esther. So I'm going to be doing that a little differently. I've set up a membership club on Patreon. And so I'm just strategizing better, differently. And then also I'm working on the spring issue of my magazine, Point Music and Lifestyle. And I've got some incredible stories in there, about legacy acts and also indie artists. And I'd really love to take all this information now and work on doing documentaries. I mean, it just seems the next place to take this. There's other things in the background, but you'll have to wait and see, as they say.
Yeah.
Tom?
You have interviewed and you do interview all kinds of different people. How do you get hold of the people you have on the show? Do they come to you? Is it just luck that you kind of run into them and you say, oh, I've got a show? And how does it generally come about that they come on the show for you?
Well, at the moment, it's by recommendation. I know Skyler's put a few people through to me, but it's because people are now, my visibility is out there now and people know about the brand.
Yeah.
And they usually enjoy themselves on the show. So those are two sort of really nice things that allow people to want to be on the show and to engage. And it's really nice also when I get told, we've never really been interviewed like this before, or you changed my life around by the questions you've asked. And these are people who've been around for ages.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, 60, 70 years you've been around and my show has made that impact. So in a sense, that's, those are some of the ways that I get people on the show.
Yeah.
How do you come up with different questions?
I usually say it's by divine inspiration.
Okay.
I know it might sound sort of woo-woo, wee-wee, but it's by by divine inspiration. I believe that we've all got our own different gifts. And one of those is I'm able just to feel into where someone's at. And also when they say something, able to tag on to what they've said and then expand that. And sometimes I don't even have time to brief myself. Okay, I'm owning it. I don't have time to fully brief myself about who's coming on my show because sometimes I'm just mega, mega busy.
Yeah.
But then I've learned to ask questions in a certain way where then I can pull out certain phrases and then create a story around it. And then I get the story and then I'm able to expand and expound on that.
I know you care.
I'm giving away all my secrets here, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, this is the place to let it go, I know you love music, but how much do you love it?
It's a soul thing, Skylar. It's, when I go dancing, people often ask me, I've been asked, do I have dance Tourette's? Because they said that it's almost like there's something that comes through me. I mean, I feel like as if I'm in a vortex and I feel it in my soul. I feel it in my bones. I feel the rhythm. I feel the vibration. I feel the words.
Yeah.
And it's just a different realm. It really is. And I've been like that from a child. I used to irritate my parents because I grew up in a very strict Christian environment. And I remember the first time I was allowed a radio in my teens, I'm like, oh my God, this is magic. And so when I was doing my housework, that radio came down each step with me. And I realized even when an advert came on, I'd be rocking. And
Yeah.
I used to irritate people, but they're like, what's wrong with you? It's an advert. But Tom, just
makes you move, doesn't it?
But it does, because especially back in the day as well, they used to use a lot of soul music in their adverts.
Mm-hmm.
And how much it means to me, it means it's like it's everything. So it also helps me with my emotions. So if I'm feeling a certain way, music can speak into every aspect of my emotion.
That's right.
And then with what you're doing as well about social conscious music, that empowers the soul. It's like nurturing the soul. It's like feeding the soul, isn't it?
Yeah. I think this is our 247th show. And we're loving it because, everybody's got a story. And so we come on, talk about their story, and we talk about how much they love social conscious music and how it can change lives because people are tired of bad news. And it's, let's give them some good news, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's that sort of buffer, isn't it? I mean, at the moment, there's a lot of energetic chaos globally.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's sometimes I just cut myself away from it because I'm an empath as well. And someone's like, not today. But with music, it can help to absorb. It can help to bring together. It can help to bridge. It's like food, isn't it? It bridges a gap. And sometimes you don't even realize that gap is being bridged because you put the music on and organically people come together or they see each other through different filters. Because the music is healing and the vibration. And it's also about vibration in the music.
That's what we talk about. Conscious music heals, educates, and solves problems. And that's what we use it for, I let everybody else do the love songs now. I used to write those for years and years and years and years, but everybody can write a love song, Not enough social conscious songs to change the world. And that's what we're out here doing by finding artists that write social conscious. So even though there hasn't been a real platform for it, we're creating that here where you can express yourself and why you write songs that can change the world. Tom?
Well, you've mentioned it briefly, I think, with what you do at the moment. Just want to see what's next for you. Where are you taking the shows? Is it kind of continuation of what you've been doing up to now? Have you got anything else coming up?
I guess it's what's going to come organically, with the shows. I want to build out my YouTube channel platform, and people keep asking me about, when are you going to get your own TV show? I mean, even up to yesterday, I had 3 or 4 people like, you need your own TV show, TV platform. And I'm trying to understand what that looks like. And I feel it will happen. And also I do a Tuesday show as well, which is called On the Sofa with Esther, Tuesday's Words of Wisdom. But that show more deals with well-being, wellness. It looks at emotional trauma. It looks at challenges. And I get people on the show who've been through different experiences and they talk about solutions, because for me, it's about solutions and how we can transform. And it's no judgment to anybody who may be feeling stuck in a certain place and find it hard to move on. But I just simply want people to know and understand that there are options out there for you to move through, to evolve through, to transform through. Similar to, your ethos for social conscious music, it's about empowering people with the knowledge and the tools that you don't need to stay there. We can change things.
Yeah, every day. I mean, when I first started doing social conscious music, we gave the money away to every family that had 4 kids, and we helped pay for one of their college funds,
Yeah.
college tuitions,
Yeah.
using music. And when I saw that we can do that, I'm like, what about these stars that really have money? They
Mm.
need to take just a little portion of their money, and you can help keep the doors open for a lot of foundations just with a little piece of their money.
A lot of them do. It's interesting. A lot of them do, but they don't say, and I think sometimes out there in the big wide world and on socials, there's sort of judgment against people with money and stuff that they're not doing. But a lot of people behind closed doors, even I know people who they're like millionaires, but if you look at them, you would never know until they may be doing a business transaction or donating. I think there's such a great need if that makes sense. I see it on my road. I see it in the towns. I see it even you go into Oxford Street. There's such a need, and that need is growing.
Mhm. So, for someone that wanted to start their own podcast,
Mm.
what advice would you give them?
Like Nike says, just do it. You've got your phone, and these phones nowadays are so great. I mean,
Yeah.
I've used this phone. I've got a Samsung S23 Ultra. I'm surprised I remember that, but I do. I'm old school. And I've used that. I've traveled with that in the States, and I've done interviews on that. So you just start with your phone and just get clear about the message you want to deliver. Sometimes it might not be clear initially. You just want to start, but I would say don't be persuaded by what everybody else may or may not be doing. What is it that you truly desire in your heart to deliver? Because there's so much to the persuasion of doing podcasts that are always damning down, cussing down, tearing down. And we can see from Skyler and even what I do, go where your heart is. If
Yeah,
it feels right in your heart, go with that. And it doesn't matter because whatever you do, it will reach into somebody's life.
that's
And
right.
people want positivity, goodness. They're crying out for it.
Especially right now. Listen, I love you, and namaste,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for the privilege of your time. You know what I mean?
Always. There's loads of other things that I do. Yes, there's lots of other. I would love to put my hand to writing a social conscious song. What do you think, Tom?
I think you should. And I think actually there's the man there who can help you pull it out of you. If you need
Absolutely.
inspiration or someone to look at that chap.
Absolutely.
I'm so down to helping you anytime. You know that, right?
I know. This has been a real pleasure, Skylar. Always a pleasure. And thank you too, Tom.
Wonderful. Tom's gonna get your information so we can spread the love. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I mean, we've briefly mentioned it, but maybe not the details. How is it people can go off and find you, sort of web addresses and kind of Instagram handles and stuff like that? How do people go and find out what you're up to?
Okay, so you can go to my website, which is www.esteraustinglobal.biz. And then my socials, my handles are at Esther Austin Global and also at Turning Point Magazine.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Thanks, Esther.
Thank you. Thank
All
you
right.
both. All right.
Take care,
Bye.
Esther.
Much love. Much love.
Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all get together, music can save the world. Yeah. Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all come together, music can save the world. There's an urgency facing our humanity.
Thank you so much for watching. To stay up to date, please click subscribe and hit the bell. You can also join our group on Facebook and find us on LinkedIn and Instagram.